what's going on? Welcome back to Collecting 101. And at the end of last week's video, I gave you guys the power to pick this week's topic. So you guys voted, and today we're going to be doing our video on hens on a nest. So we're going to delve into the history, the popularity, and of course the value of your hens on a nest. So let's start off today with history. Hens on nests can be traced back to the 1800s, when they were imported in from England to the United States. Now, this was a very expensive process, so these hens on nests were actually reserved only for the very wealthy of people. Now, from 1890 to 1910, hens on nests gained in popularity and demand as they were used for advertising condiments like mustard. Now, most of your hens on a nest were anywhere from 2 inches to 8 inches. Obviously, the 8 inches being more for your nuts and candy, and the 2 inches being more for salt, or even, like you said, your condiments and whatnot. As the popularity of the hen on nest began to skyrocket, other companies hopped on board and wanted to start producing their own versions. Now, these companies included Fenton, Westmoreland, Boyd, and Anchor Hocking, amongst others. Now, with these different companies starting to produce these, they started giving them their own names. So you'll see names like the HON, the hen in a basket, chicken in a nest, rooster in a nest, or my personal favorite is the animal dish, because there are so many different other animals than just hens they put on these dishes. So the animal dish was always the one I thought was most fun. Now, it wasn't until 1930 that the Westmoreland Company actually made it the official name of hen on nest. So all these other names you heard before then were used, but now that's why they're officially called the hen on nest, because Westmoreland, obviously, I don't know if they have any like certain powers, but those are the ones that made it officially named the hen on nest. So that's why you get that name nowadays. Now, with all these different companies producing hens on nests, they started to use different kinds of glass. So, for example, you start to see depression glass, carnival glass, milk glass, pressed glass, Victorian glass, Indiana glass, as well as leaded crystal, just to differentiate some of these hens on nests out there. Now, we're going to touch base on a lot of those in the popularity section and start highlighting some more of those as well, because there's some really cool ones out there. Now, throughout the years, many different animals have graced the top of these nests. Now, it wasn't only just hens. You can see chickens, you can see lambs, as well as frogs, ducks, deer. There's a lot of different animals out there, so it gives you so many options if you want to get into collecting these. So guys, that's really the history on hens on nests. It's really slim on what's out there, how these got here, and what has happened from the late 1800s till now. I just know there is a lot of collectors out there, and there's a lot of different really cool glass I can't wait to touch on in the popularity section of this video. But the history of these are pretty slim when it comes to people putting it out there and a lot of facts out there. So this is what I could crunch up. It's hopefully, you guys did learn a few things about the history of hens on nests. So let's get on to the popularity section. Okay, so let's get into the popularity of hens on nest. Now, with something like these, it's hard to tell you exactly what to collect because it really comes down to preference. So I just want to highlight a lot of things you should be looking for when you want to get into start collecting these. So we're going to talk about popular glass companies, popular glass that they've used, as well as popular colors out there. Now, let's start it off with those colors. Now, the two most common colors you're going to see are clear and white. Now, white is obvious because hens are white. It just looks really good together. And, it gives it a real, authentic look. So those are two colors you're going to run across a lot. But past that, it gets into different kinds of glass. I mean, you got carnival glass. And as we've talked about before in our Collecting 101 videos, carnival glass is some of the most beautiful glass out there. I mean, you get some of that green or amethyst color on these, and it really just pops in your collection. Now, we also can talk about the Vaseline glass, because they do hens on nests as well. I say hens on nests, but I'm telling you, they do many other animals, not just hens. So, but Vaseline glass is just gorgeous as well. You put those under a black light in a showcase. We've talked about it before. It just looks really good, and it really highlights a collection. It could really, make it one of a kind compared to somebody else's. Now, this next one I'm going to talk about, we haven't had a collecting video on yet, but we will, because slag glass is some of the most unique, one-of-a-kind glass out there. Because each piece is unique. Each piece is one of a kind because they mix these two colors together, and it always comes out different every time. And as I'm showing you guys in all these pictures, I mean, it is just gorgeous. And it usually holds the most value for your hens on nests. Actually, I've had hens on nests as well in our store that were blue and white. They were like a baby blue and white, and man, they were just gorgeous, and they didn't last long. We had about 7 or 8 of them we bought from a collection, and man, they were just, oh, they were awesome. So, I mean, I could go off on a little bit on the slag glass because it is some of my favorite glass, and it's something that we'll definitely be talking about in a collecting video coming up soon. And it was past that, guys, it gets into more different kinds of glass, like the depression glass. As I'm showing you guys in pictures here, it definitely looks good. And then you got Victorian glass is another one I'm not super familiar with. So I'm going to do a little more research on a Victorian glass, but as I'm showing you guys here, they're definitely, it is a really cool piece of glass, and it does look good with the Hens On Nest as well. All right, so let's get on to the last part of this. Let's talk about different companies that did produce these Hens On Nest. And I'm going to show you guys different pictures from different companies and see if you can notice any differences on these Hens On Nest from different companies, because there is slight differences to a lot of these. So let's highlight a few of these first. Let's show you guys some different kinds of Boyd Hens On Nest, you know, and see if you guys notice any difference when I showed you guys some of the other ones as well. Now, next up, we're going to show you some Westmoreland Hens On Nest. And then after that, we want to get into the Anchor Hocking Hens On Nest. And then last up is, you know, probably the most popular glass company out there, and that is Fenton. And now Fenton also, you'll notice in the value section of this video, also, you know, holds some spots too, is holding the most value for some of these as well. So this Fenton Hens On Nest are just really, really nice. And some are even have hand painted stuff on there. I mean, so there's definitely ones that are always look great in a collection, are going to add a lot of value to your collection as well. So yeah, guys, that's really the popularity of, you know, Hens On Nest. I did want to touch on just those 3 categories there and give you guys a lot of different examples of what's out there, because there's so many great, you know, different kinds of animals and colors and glass out there that you guys can go that probably I didn't even touch base on, that you guys can let me know about in the comment section of this video, because there is a lot out there, but these are just some of the ones I thought that you guys would like to see. So, all right, let's head on to the value section of the video. Okay, so let's talk about the value of your Hens On Nest. And you know me, I always like to start with condition. You want no chips, no cracks, no repairs. So make sure you take that top off, put your finger around each of the edge of the top and bottom, and make sure there's nothing there that's going to drastically affect the value, because if there's any kind of imperfections, it's really going to devalue your collection. And that's something you don't want when you want to start collecting glass. Now, when you want to determine age, especially on these Hens On Nest, it's very hard because there are so many different variety of makers as well as colors that a lot of these different companies didn't mark their items. So it really makes it tough to determine age. So be ready to do a lot of research to determine when a lot of your pieces were made. Now, you have companies like the Indiana Glass Company that always had a mark on their item, as well as they never really changed the design. So it made it a lot easier to determine when a lot of those were made. But you also have companies like Fenton, who usually mark their items, and as well as Boyd, they were another one that marks their items a lot as well. So there is a lot of companies that do mark them, but you just be ready to do a lot of research and go through a lot of reference books and a lot of online research as well to figure out when your piece was made and exactly how old it is, because that's really going to affect the value if you have something that was made, you know, in the early 1900s compared to the mid 1900s. So, you know, definitely do the research. And if you're going to get into this, you know, the more research you have in it, the better, you know, just like anything we collect, the more you know, obviously the better off you're going to be. So let's start talking about a value of, you know, a monetary value of what these Hens On Nest are worth. Now, most of the common pieces out there are worth anywhere from $10 to $40, you know, depending on different kind of glass, you know, from Carnival to Depression to just clear or white milk glass. I mean, so definitely, you know, that's going to determine a lot as well. Your real money doesn't get into, you start talking that more rare glass, the rare colored Fenton, or that slag glass. Now, the slag glass is going to be where a lot of your money comes from on these Hens On Nest. Or, you know, obviously if there's lambs or ducks or geese or whatever's on top of your nest. But the slag glass is what holds the most value because it has that unique one-of-a-kind that look to them. Because each piece is all, you know, unique. There's nothing like it. They're all one of a kind, like I keep saying. So I mean, definitely keep that in mind as well. That slag glass is what you're going to want to be looking for, and why not? Because there's so many different colors too. Like I told you, there's brown and whites, blue and whites, purple and whites. There's so many different. There's red and whites. I mean, there's so many different things out there that slag definitely helps you hold the value to, and that's where you're going to get the most value out of. Just like I'm going to talk about right now, as I give you guys my favorite part of this video, which is the top 3 most expensive Hens On Nest that have sold. So number 3 is going to be the purple slag glass. Now this was on eBay and it sold for $300. And as you guys can see, man, these things are just gorgeous. Now number 2 on the list is actually a Westmoreland slag glass Hen On Nest. Now this sold for over $315. And as you guys are seeing, these prices are a little, pretty close together there. But not with number 1. Now number 1, now this was actually at auction. It's a Fenton blue, yellow, and green Hen On Nest, and this sold for over $2,500. Now the funny part about that is actually the seller was quoted as saying he only thought he was going to get $100 to $200 for this piece. But just like any auction you go to, and I hope I kind of highlight this in my auction adventures videos I show you guys, is that you really never know that a $300 piece can go for $5 and a $5 piece can go for $300. I mean, it just depends on who's there and who's bidding on it. And when you have a one-of-a-kind piece like this and you get 2 or 3 or 4 people there that really want it, it can really drive that price up and it can make it so it's like, man, I can't believe we got that much. So always keep that in mind, guys, that you can get a lot of things for a lot cheaper than you thought, or sometimes you might have to pay a little more when you hit those auctions up. As you can see with the number 1 on this list, man, $2,500 for a Hen On Nest is just absolutely crazy to me. But I also want to show you too here, there's also a lot of other eBay listings here that you guys can go and start a collection for a very reasonable price on these Hens On Nest, or if you want to start collecting, again, like I said, frogs and deer and whatever else you want to collect. I mean, there's a lot of reasonable price out there depending on the size you're looking for. If you're looking for the little 2-inch salt dips, or if you're looking for the nut and candy dishes that are, more like 8 inches big. I mean, there's a lot of options you'll have out there to get into this. Now, really, this is a great thing to start collecting, because when it comes to your collections, a lot of times you want to look, the look really means a lot. And with these, you're going to have so many different colors and it's really going to shine in a showcase. So I can see why a lot of people are collecting these, because the looks of these can be so unique and it really gives you a different array of styles in your collection. So yeah, guys, that is our video today on the Hens On Nest. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, the history was slim, but I know I tried to squeak a lot of stuff in there that hopefully gives you guys a little bit of background on your Hens On Nest. And even with the popularity, highlighting everything out there that gives you guys as many opportunities to see what is available out there, because there is so many more out there that I didn't get a chance to touch base on, that if you guys get into this, you guys will definitely enjoy what you guys see out of it. And then of course the value. Right now is a great time you can be buying, but there's also, also a good time to sell, honestly, or whatever you want to do with your Hen On Nest collection. But right now the value is always good. I mean, if you get some of those rare slag glasses that are definitely out there, because we come across them all the time, that you can get in there and definitely add to your collection for a pretty decent price sometimes. So, all right, guys, that's it. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you guys want to like this video, and then comment below, what is your history with Hen On Nest? Did you guys collect them? Did your grandparents collect them? Parents collect them? We had a vendor at our shop that collected them. Anytime we come across them, we'd give him a call and he'd usually purchase from him every time. So there's definitely some collectors for everything out there. That's one thing I've learned about this business, is that there's always a collector for everything. So, and of course, guys, if you guys want to subscribe to the channel, we thank you guys all so much for supporting us. I mean, this has been amazing. These Collecting 101 videos are doing really well, and we really appreciate you guys showing the support for this series. So, and I actually, guys, the next video I want to do the same thing we did on this one. It was really close. I want to tell you guys that Viking Glass was another one that was really close to winning. But Hen On Nest was another one I got commented on a lot. So we went with that one, but just know that Viking Glass was close, and Slag Glass will be another one we might, run into too. But I want to give you guys the power again. I want to give you guys the power to pick next week's Collecting 101 video. So in the comment section below, comment what you want to see me do a Collecting 101 video on, because I thought this was a lot of fun. I got to learn a little bit about the Hen On Nest, and of course, anything that I get to learn new about is always exciting to me. So, pound that comment section with more suggestions for next week's Collecting 101. All right, guys, and when I talk about collecting, I'm always going to talk about, it's always about your memories over money. See you guys later.